Karoline, does President Trump have any plans?
The nice weather, everybody's out. It's Monday. We have another big week. On Wednesday, it will be Liberation Day in America, as President Trump has so proudly dubbed it. The cabinet will be here for the event. It'll be our first Rose Garden event of this administration. So you all will be invited to attend and cover this historic moment. The president will be announcing a tariff plan that will roll back the unfair trade practices that have been ripping off our country for decades. He's doing this in the best interest of the American worker. We also had great news that, this morning on the border. Our Homeland Security team, our national security team, continues to do an incredibly effective job when it comes to deporting foreign terrorists from American soil. 17 Tren de Aragua and MS-13 illegal criminal terrorists were deported from our country back to El Salvador, and they will no longer ever be able to say they can roam free in this country under this president. These were convicted felons, murderers, rapists who are no longer in our country, and I think we should all be very grateful for that. I'll take some questions.
Is there anything these countries can do at this point to stave off these tariffs? And has the president decided on the scale and scope of these tariffs?
Well, I think, first of all, unfortunately, these countries have been ripping off our country for far too long. And they've made, I think, their disdain for the American worker quite clear. If you look at the unfair trade practices that we have, 50% from the European Union on American dairy. You have a 700% tariff from Japan on American rice. You have a 100% tariff from India on American agricultural products. You have nearly a 300% tariff from Canada on American butter and American cheese. This makes it virtually impossible for American products to be imported into these markets, and it has put a lot of Americans out of business and out of work over the past several decades. So it's time for reciprocity, and it's time for a president to take historic change to do what's right for the American people, and that's going to take place on Wednesday.
And what about the scope of them? He said yesterday he would be more generous. What does that mean?
I will let the president make the announcement on Wednesday, but it's certainly going to ensure that there's reciprocity and the American people are treated fairly.
Has Karoline determined how many countries are going to see these reciprocal tariffs?
Again, I'll let the president get into the specifics of the announcement, but he has a brilliant team of trade advisors. You have Secretary Bessent, Secretary Lutnick, Jamieson Greer, our U.S. Trade Representative, Peter Navarro, of course, and Kevin Hassett here at the White House, Stephen Miller as well. The Vice President has been deeply involved in these conversations. All of these individuals have presented plans to the president on how to get this done, and it's the president's decision to make, and we will not get ahead of him on the specifics of the announcement.
And has the stock market sell-off caused the White House to rethink any of these plans?
The president has always said that the stock market is a snapshot of a moment in time, and he's doing what's best for Main Street, and Wall Street will work out just fine in this administration, just like they did in their first term.
As you said last week, Karoline, you said there would be an investigation or a review into how Jeffrey Goldberg's number got on that group chat. What's the status of that review, and what is the status of National Security Advisor Mike Waltz?
As the president has made it very clear, Mike Waltz continues to be an important part of his national security team, and this case has been closed here at the White House as far as we are concerned. There have been steps made to ensure that something like that can obviously never happen again, and we're moving forward, and the president and Mike Waltz and his entire national security team have been working together very well. If you look at how much safer the United States of America is because of the leadership of this team.
On the tariffs, are there going to be sector-by-sector announcements this week at the event you're alluding to? Is it going to be focusing on sectors or more country-based tariffs?
The goal of Wednesday are country-based tariffs, but certainly sectoral tariffs. The president has said he's committed to implementing them, and I'll leave it to him on when he makes that decision and that announcement.
Caroline, does President Trump still plan to talk to President Putin this week, and if so, when?
I don't have a readout for you on that call, but as always, we'll provide a readout. Usually the president likes to let you guys know first, especially for big calls like that. Steve?
Any exemptions for farmers being considered for these tariffs?
No exemptions at this time.
Karoline.
The validation guide that DHS is using to determine who is an enemy alien, a Tren de Aragua member, and deportable under the Enemy Aliens Act, it has criteria here that require 8 points to be classified as a TDA member. You can get classified by simply having certain symbols in your tattoos and wearing certain streetwear brands. That alone is enough to get someone classified as TDA and sent to El Salvador.
That's not true, actually, Andrew.
According to this document, it is.
No, according to the Department of Homeland Security and the agents, have you talked to the agents who have been putting their lives on the line to detain these foreign terrorists who have been terrorizing our communities? TDA is a vicious gang that has taken the lives of American women. And our agents on the front lines take deporting these people with the utmost seriousness, and there is a litany of criteria that they use to ensure that these individuals qualify as foreign terrorists and to ensure that they qualify for deportation. And the president made it incredibly clear to the American public that there would be a mass deportation campaign of not just foreign terrorists, but also illegal criminal aliens who have been wreaking havoc on American communities. And shame on you and shame on the mainstream media for trying to cover for these individuals who have. This is a vicious gang, Andrew. This is a vicious gang that has taken the lives of American women.
The government filed in court, which says all.
And you said yourself there are 8 criteria on that document.
They need 8 points.
And you are questioning the credibility of these agents who are putting their life on the line to protect your life and the life of everybody in this group and everybody across the country. And their credibility should be questioned. They finally have a president who is allowing them to do their jobs, and God bless them for doing it.
Karoline, what method would the president use to potentially run for a third term? As he said, there are methods there.
Look, you guys continue to ask the president this question about a third term, and then he answers honestly and candidly with a smile, and then everybody here melts down about his answer. The president talked about this last night on the plane. He said, it's not really something we're thinking about. He has 4 years. There's a lot of work to do. We've done a lot in these nearly first 100 days, and the American people love what this president is doing, particularly when it comes to efforts to secure the border.
How confident is President Trump in that he can get a peace deal done in Ukraine? How confident is President Trump that he can get a peace deal done in Ukraine?
Well, look, the president is working incredibly hard to get a peace deal done between Russia and Ukraine, and he has expressed his displeasure with comments that have been made by leaders of both sides of this conflict. He has expressed what he believes needs to take place in order to see this conflict come to an end. He continues to work very hard on it, and our teams continue to be engaged.
Karoline, can countries that don't have tariffs on the US but may have other forms of non-tariff trade barriers, I'm thinking in my case of Australia, can they expect to be hit on in Wednesday's announcement, or can they expect to be left out and dealt with another time?
Again, I'll let the president make the announcement on Wednesday, but I think any country that has treated the American people unfairly should expect to receive a tariff in return on Wednesday.
Karoline, you talk about the European Union. Is the president expected to impose those tariffs in blocks, or will he distinguish countries within those trading blocks?
Again, I will let the president get into the specifics of the announcement. It's his announcement to make. It's going to be very exciting. We'll see you guys in the Rose Garden. And you will also hear directly from the president if you have any lingering questions. 5:30 this afternoon, or evening rather, although it's really afternoon for us. That's about midday for this president because he works all night. But he'll be signing an executive order. It will be the in-house pool in the Oval Office, and we'll see you all there. Thanks, guys.
Is the president going to Saudi Arabia?
Thank you, Karoline.